Hey guys, welcome back to A2D, Agree to Disagree. I'm Michael. I'm here with Brian. All right, man. Week two, and we're gonna go over our DFS starts and sits. First off, how'd you do last week, man? How did DFS? It was kind of a rough week for most people, man. How did it
Yeah.
go for you?
Yeah, no crap, dude. I went with some of my guys that I was thinking. I had Eckler and Aaron Jones. I think they combined for like 17, 18 points.
Mm-hmm.
Not so hot, man. I had Gabe
Yeah.
Davis and Michael Pittman. They did good for me. But yeah,
DF,
DFS wasn't a. Looking to bounce back this week. Let's just say that.
DFS was weird last week, man. Like everybody thought was going to do well. Like I know a lot of people were high on Aaron Jones. Like Aaron Jones always kills Minnesota. Like he was kind of absent in that game. Like there's a lot of weird stuff, and it's going to change this week. So just because they did hot last week doesn't mean they're going to do good this week. But once again, guys, we do two different platforms. I think BT's on FanDuel. I'm on DraftKings. So keep in mind that the salaries are going to be a little bit different than what you might be used to, but we're going to do things a little bit different. We're going to just go right down our lists here, and then we tell each guys our team. I want you guys to vote on who you think, what you would change and what you like. So, BT, go ahead and go down your list, man. And so again, this is for FanDuel.
Right. For FanDuel, and my strategy is to always start cheap and try to find a good matchup. And I
Mm.
saw down here one of my cheaper guys, Julio Jones, against New Orleans. He was only $5,700. That's pretty cheap for a guy with Godwin out, with
Mm-hmm.
Gage banged up, Lenny banged up. He looks pretty healthy. He looked pretty good. I know he missed a couple practices this week, but he was full go today on Friday. So I think he's going to be good to go Sunday. He's beaten New Orleans up in the past. So I'm going with Julio Jones as one of my cheaper options. I think I got him in the flex right now. And then another cheap option, I got Chase Edmonds from the running back. He's only 6,000. He's going against Baltimore. I think Baltimore is a team that might be able to get out ahead a little bit. And they're a pass first team, man. They're not going to be able to really run the ball well on them. So I think Edmonds is going to get some checkdowns. He
Mm-hmm.
got quite a few targets last week. He's clearly the guy in the pass game. So I think he's pretty safe, and he's gonna and the game script should fit. So that's why I went with Edmonds there. And then I got to get a stack. And for me, my stack this week was pretty cheap, man. I got Jerry Judy for 6,300, and then Russell Wilson for 7,500.
Mm-hmm.
They clearly have a connection. We saw that hit a little bit last week. We're going to see that hit a little bit more this week. Russell Wilson, this is his home debut, and he's coming off a loss to Seattle. Russell Wilson is a competitor. I think that he's going to want to make a statement like, this is why I came here, because everyone's saying, oh, you left for that, because they got embarrassed by Seattle. But Russell Wilson is going to remind the guys why he's a top dog. Russell Wilson is going to get cooking here. So I got him and Jerry Judy as a stack. I got them pretty cheap. And then I want my other cheap guy, 5,200 bucks is tight end, is Logan Thomas. Carson Wentz, it looks like you got Logan Thomas also, but yeah, Carson Wentz, he loves him some tight ends. He always has. Logan Thomas, I was a little worried about drafting. I almost picked him up in my fantasy league too, but Danny beat me to it a little bit, and I had to go with Everett, which worked out pretty decent.
Yeah.
But yeah, Logan Thomas, he's pretty good, man. He's an underrated tight end. He used to play quarterback, so he has an understanding of the soft spots, where to get open. He's got good size, good hands. And Carson Wentz, man, he used to love him some Zach Ertz. He throws to the tight end. I think he had like 6 targets in his first game back from ACL. I think that's going to increase. He's gonna be a good option going forward. And for the value, 5,200 bucks, that's super cheap. So I went there. Speaking of cheap, I filled out all my other ones, so I was left with some slim pickings on defense, and I went with the Patriots. Bill Belichick losing twice in a row, and he's going against Mitchell Trubisky led offense. Bill Belichick, I think I can expect a few turnovers to have them start 0-2. They're going to be coming out hungry, so that's my reasoning for going with Patriots. They were pretty cheap. Got the Patriots, and then I get up here with my expensive guys. I got my last 3 spots. They're pretty pricey, but I paid up for Tyreek Hill. I think this is the week that he's going to pop one. Tyreek Hill. They're going against Baltimore. They're going to be needed. Last week, they got up ahead a little bit on the Patriots. Patriots weren't able to keep up. Lamar is going to be able to keep up, so they're going to need to put some points up. Kansas City's 2-0. Tyreek Hill, he sees them rolling still, so I'm sure Tyreek wants to get going. Their head coach wants to get him going. This is the week Tyreek pops, and he's only 8,000. He's actually pretty cheap compared to somebody like Tyreek could be elite. We all forget like he used to be elite in fantasy world, and now he's kind of on that second tier wide receiver. But if he could pop, then all of a sudden, like I said, he can be that elite status again. So Tyreek Hill, I got him in my lineup, and then Joe Mixon at running back. He's my RB1 against Dallas. For anyone that watched Sunday night, Lenny was running all over them Cowboys. I expect the Cowboys, who don't have Dak Prescott, to be trailing a lot, and that means game script is going to apply to the Bengals to where they're going to be ahead, and they're going to be running the ball. And this is their lead back. I could see him easily going for 100, 150 yards on the ground. Joe Mixon, Bengals, they lost to the Steelers last week. I expect a lot of points from Cincinnati. They're going to be, looking to score in the 40s and make a statement like, we're still here. Don't write us off yet. So, yeah, I got Joe Mixon here. And then to round it out, I went with your boy, Justin Jefferson, 9,200 up at the top. He's the most expensive guy. But, man, if he's getting that kind of volume and he's in that kind of offense, Coach O'Connell hooked up Cooper Kupp last year with all of it, and it looks like it's happening with Justin Jefferson this year. So, get it while you can, because he's going to keep getting more and more expensive as the season goes on if he's going to keep getting used like that. So I went with Justin Jefferson to finish out the lineup.
Yeah, everyone has a pretty good matchup. Sounds pretty dangerous. So I like that right there. I like it a lot. You have a couple guys that I have too. So going into mine, again, I'm on DraftKings, so salary's gonna be a little bit different. So I have that stack, man. I have Kirk and Justin Jefferson. I think that my approach to fantasy, especially DFS, is I try to find those matchups that are going to score a lot of points in those matchups. Philly and Minnesota, it looks like they're going to score a lot of points in that game. A lot of fantasy points will be scored in that game. So I actually have quite a few people in that game. But Kirk, number one, I think he goes for at least 3 touchdowns, and maybe 2 of them again to Justin Jefferson. My running backs, I have Saquon Barkley. Can you guess who my other running back is? Saquon Barkley. He's back, man. He looked extremely good. He's got a pretty light matchup this week. So let's see if that works out for me. Because I played him last week too. So let's see if he works out again. Other running back, obviously AJ Dillon. AJ Dillon looks like he might be Aaron Rodgers' favorite target in the passing game too, which is kind of a shocker. Last week against Minnesota, he scored 20 points mostly in the passing game. He got the goal line work. He might slowly be the one passing up Aaron Jones for that number 1 spot. He's only $5,800. Seems like a pretty easy steal against the Bears. They're going to be at home. They're going to be pissed off. I think that's a pretty good play. Brandon Ayuk is playing Seattle. So last week he didn't come off to as hot of a start as I thought, but I think this is the week where you're going to start seeing Trey open up a little bit, and Brandon Ayuk had that connection with him in camp. Kittle looks like he's still out, so Brandon Ayuk.
Brittle Kittle, man.
So again, wide receiver Justin Jefferson. Enough said, man. I think this year you kind of have to have 1 of 3 guys in your lineup at all times if you're playing DFS. That's going to be Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, or Devontae Adams, depending on matchups. I have a league, honestly. It's actually a FanDuel league where I have Justin and Devontae Adams this week. I went cheap on running back in that league, but hopefully I get the points there. Tight end Logan Thomas, you hit on it, man. My last receiver is Jahan Dotson. So when I talked about I'm trying to find matchups to where there's a lot of points going to be scored. Jahan Dotson, the Redskins and the Lions, that's going to be a game where a lot of points are going to be scored. Jahan Dotson's only $4,200. He's not going to score 2 touchdowns again. I mean, he might, but he looked like he might be a big part of that offense. But that's going to be a lot of points scored in that game. So I have Dotson and Logan Thomas. So I don't really like to go against 2 pass catchers in the same offense. But again, I think there's going to be a lot of points scored with how cheap Logan Thomas is in DraftKings. He's only $3,400. Looking down that low, there wasn't much to pick from. I mean, like Mo Alley Cox was down there, so you're going to pick Logan Thomas over Mo Alley Cox. My flex is going back to that Philly game, Philly and Minnesota, and I have Miles Sanders. So last week, Green Bay beat us up in the pass game with their running backs.
Man,
I think Miles Sanders.
Wrong. Yeah, I was sorry. I was wrong. Kevin hit me up. Like he said, Miles Sanders. I think it was Drake London was his other option. I was like, dude, Miles Sanders is a bum. Don't play Miles Sanders. And then look at Miles Sanders pops, man. It's been so much years of disappointment, but dude, he could be, if he's actually a fit in this offense, he's always had the ability, like you always said, but it could pay off this year.
So what's frustrating about Philly is the fact that they have, I mean, last week they had 3 running backs score a touchdown on the goal line. They have Jalen Hurts, who got a running touchdown on the goal line. They had 4 rushing touchdowns from 4 different people. So that's Philly's offense for you. But Miles Sanders, I think, scored 20 points in that game. So, he at $5,600, I think him and Kenneth Gainwell are going to be the 2 backs that are going to catch passes out of the backfield this week. But Sanders is the number 1 dog there still. So he looked pretty good last week. I think that you can roll with him. If it's your year long, I think you can roll with him in a flex spot. I have him in a flex spot, $5,600. I think that's a pretty safe bet. And then going to the Steeler game and the Patriot game, man. I have the Steelers, so I have the other side of it. I think that's going to be a lower scoring game. So I didn't really want to pick up anybody in that as the offensive positions, but the defenses in DraftKings, the Steelers are $2,800. I know they're going to be without their top, top dog. TJ is going to be out. I understand that. But they still have Minka Fitzpatrick, who is a pick 6 waiting to happen. Mac Jones is dealing with back spasms, might have a little bit come off that ball. So I think that's going to be a pretty ugly game all around. And I think either defense is actually pretty, especially for $2,800, man. It's one of the cheaper defenses for some strange reason. Because on FanDuel, they're $5,000 and they're the most expensive defense. On DraftKings, they're cheap, and it's kind of strange. But that's my lineup. So
man, that just gets me thinking, like, who scares you on the Patriots offense, man? Are they the team that you're really going to start streaming defenses against them because they can't put up points? Like, they don't have anyone that really, I mean, their running backs are solid. They're decent with Harris and Stevenson. Their receivers are okay with Jacoby Meyer, but nobody scares you. There's no, like, they're all coverable. You can almost shut them down a little bit, man. They need to prepare around Mac Jones a little bit better, get some better talent around him. That might be the case, though. I could easily see the Steelers. That's going to be what, 9-3 game? Like, who's going to score, dude?
It could be like 16-10 with 2 defensive touchdowns. I mean,
right.
I'm exaggerating. Either quarterback's going to scare you. Yeah, man. I mean, I think the Patriots are going to come out and they're going to try to run the ball. They're going to try to keep Mac Jones from having to drop back because he's been dealing with back spasms. But if the Steelers can still apply a pass rush without TJ Watt, that secondary is going to eat them alive. So there's going to be some turnovers in this game on both sides. So either defense is especially when they're inexpensive, it's a good play to go. So.
Yeah, definitely. So, man, I mean, that takes care of my DFS lineup. We went over your DFS lineup. We're actually in a head-to-head DFS this week. That's my lineup. You just got a little glimpse of my lineup. So, yeah, man, it's going to be fun. DFS, we do it every week. Make sure you guys stick with us. Each week, we're going to be giving it to you next week. Week 3, week 2 kicked off last night. Shoot, we had the Chiefs and Chargers. What a game that was, man. But we stick our DFS. We stick to the Sunday through Monday lineup because we can't get around to everybody in time. So, yeah, like I said, let us know who you guys think has a better lineup. We're going to find out. We got our head-to-head, so me and Michael are going to let you know who has the bragging rights next week. But yeah, like I said, stay tuned, subscribe. Catch you guys next time.